this out. Again, that went well last week. That video did way more than I thought, so we're gonna keep this going. See, this works out. So I'm reviving one of the series from my old channel called Musings, which is obviously just music reviews. I'm not reviewing literally everything I listen to because, to be honest, most of what I listen to, I just have nothing to say. So I'm just gonna give this a go with the stuff that I have something to say about. And this isn't specifically only releases. What was that voice? Only releases from the past month. It's also just anything I've listened to in July that I've liked. So first record is Motionless in White, Scoring the End of the World. I've been meaning to give Motionless in White a proper go recently, so this was just convenient timing for me. I enjoyed it. Has some great one-liners before breakdowns, just things they said. But the thing is, I feel they always clearly had ambitions beyond the scene, but sonically never seem to evolve past that. Like, there's a version of this band that they want to be, and I feel they still haven't become yet. But the thing is, they are 6 albums and almost 20 years into this, and I feel like if they should have reached that point by now, but they haven't, and it's a bit like, maybe I'm just seeing something that's not there, but I don't know. I like it, but I feel like this band could be more. But this does have one of my favourite album covers of the year so far, which I'll get into some of those as well. Next record is Foals, Life Is Yours. Foals are to indie rock what Echo is to hip hop for me. Most of the genre I can't get that into, not for lack of trying, but I love these guys. I feel like they're the closest I've heard to an indie band being heavy without any traces of heavy rock and metal in there, really, in an obvious way. And in a way it feels like it's quote-unquote technical music, but manages to be done in a way where it still feels poppy and catchy enough for me to dig it. And I still need to see them properly at some point, because I kind of saw them at least that's like 6 years ago, but it was only really for like a song and from a distance. I like the record, and I think that it's weird because they're just hard for me to kind of say what I like about it beyond it's good. But I've already put what I've put here, so yeah. Next up is Conjurer, Paphos. Normally the tech metal stuff doesn't do much for me, but this is a banger. They were good at Hellfest, though. I will admit I didn't have a clue what they were saying for pretty much all of it. So I guess in a way this almost makes it better. If like it's still a good time even though I don't understand it. And then I remember watching it and being like, wondering why the bassist was in the center when he had no vocals. But I realized, oh, it's because he likes to throw himself around a lot compared to them. Yeah, I really like this record. I think it's a case of, it's hard to describe. It's not my normal kind of thing, but something about it just clicks. Next up is Kankaku Piero, Period is Dancing. So, like a lot of people, well, actually, I think basically any Western fan will know them for one thing, which is Black Clover, because obviously they are the first and like 6th or 7th theme in the show. So that's how a lot of us know them. And Haruka Mirai is just an absolute banger in its own. And normally I complain about an album being too long because this is an hour long and 16 songs, but I don't mind it with this. This is one where every single song is great. And it's one of the things about being a weeb where I'm so used to calling this anime music where I'm like, well, I can't call this anime music because it's not. But it is the kind of style of music I've only heard through anime, so my brain thinks anime music when really it's just like Japanese pop rock / pop punk. But it does the same thing that I like about anime openings, even though there's not an anime for all these songs, which is that it gets me like hyped up. It's very hype music, and it's, I guess, not uplifting, kind of, but like in a way. Next is Lizzo, Special. I like it. I think the only issue is because I didn't expect to like Cause I Love You so much. It was such a surprise that you always end up having expectations for the follow-up, and I was trying not to, but it still kind of was there. So this one was like, yeah, that was nice, and I like it. I think it's going to be more of a grower, but About That Time is great anyway. But we'll see. My only real nitpick though is the album cover. I just find it boring. I think that's my problem with a lot of pop album covers. Is just a lot of them are very generic. Is to be to be blunt. Next is yours truly. Is This What I Look Like? One of my most anticipated releases of the year, and I didn't even know it was coming out for days after it was released. Yeah, so I didn't know it had already come out, because I thought it was coming out the 22nd, but it turned out it came out the 15th. I think maybe it was and they just changed it, or I just misremembered it. I think I'm starting to get back into pop punk. I wish the title track of this wasn't an interlude, honestly. I really like it and would have liked like a full version of what we got there, because like the initial riff at slash 20 seconds are really good on this. And I saw him at Slam Dunk, and my mates who'd seen him before said that was like the worst they'd seen, and I thought, well, if that's the worst, then great, can only go up from here, because I enjoyed that. I thought they were decent on that set. I like the album. Again, I think pop punk has been a weird one for me for years. I've gone back and forth, but I'm finding more and more pop punk this year. Like, I think it's kind of falling out of love with the scene and falling back into it now, just finding stuff. I think a lot of it was, I guess, finding my niche, because even though I like pop punk, a lot of the big pop punk never did it for me. Well, not all of it, but like some of it did, some of it didn't. It was hard to find. I guess that's how it was. But everything about this is just really tight and well done. Yep. So tomorrow I'm seeing Alec Benjamin, who hasn't released anything this month, but because I only listened to the new album back in April, and it's one of my favourite releases of the year, and it was a surprise because I'd never heard of him, and then it's one of those things that makes me feel out of touch, because I listened to it and was like, when on his Spotify, I was like, oh, he's got 14 million monthly listeners and a song with 1 billion streams, and I've never heard of this guy. What? But that's a case with a lot of pop music these days for me. And this time it's just a case of going through the back catalogue. What am I saying? And I like all of it. The new album, initially, now when I listen to it, having listened to the previous stuff, doesn't seem quite so quiet like they initially did. It's clearly the loudest, poppiest record he did, the new one, and I like the old stuff. I think I'm Not a Cynic hits me like a train. It's just such a mood I feel a lot of the time, where it's like, I'm not miserable, it's just life sucks, and I'm just not going to pretend. I can see why he's blown up. It's nice and chill, but lyrically there's a vulnerability there that draws you in. Almost like a weird, nice warm blanket with this bit of melancholy to it, but that said melancholy doesn't weigh too hard. And like I said, the vulnerability is what shines through his music for me. There's this case of like, he's very clearly like, I know he's got like social anxiety, and in a ironic way it shines through in the music. Like, he's clearly very he's very anxious, and that shows in a weird way. Like, he's almost scared to sing, but that makes it kind of endearing, because he's showing said vulnerability through that, which I'm not even sure makes sense, but that's just how I see it. Next up was Oceans of Slumber, Starlight and Ash. Again, one of the best album covers of the year. The House of the Rising Sun cover is a surprise, but I like it, and it's an interesting take on that. I think I prefer this to the last album they did, because I felt that was a slight step down from The Banished Heart, but this is maybe as good as Banished Heart, if not slightly below. I think, again, it just shows, again, kind of like Conjurer, they're not my usual thing, but I think what they're doing is interesting enough. I think it's a case of, kind of like Foals, where it's like, it's I guess this goes for about all three of them, Foals, Conjurer, and Oceans, where it's technical, but it's done in a way that kind of grabs my attention, because I find I'm very much just not a tech metal guy, more the simple stuff that just kind of gets to the point, I guess. I think that's how I just feel about music. Like, I'm very much I don't know, I guess kind of to the point with it. Of the last two, Ithaca, They Fear Us. I can see why Stephen Wright acts like this album. It's very much feels very much a fresh take on metalcore genre that leads more into the hardcore end of things, and the vocalist is damn great. And again, I think one where I'm not sure where this is going to end up in my end of year list. Like, I think it's going to be high, but I feel if I'm going to give this a few more listens, then this is going to flop around the top 20. When I say flop around, I don't know. And the last album for me is Beyonce Renaissance. So this is why she's been all over my Insta for the past week, and now it's out. She's vanished. I can see what you're doing, algorithm. So I've only realised I've only listened to one of her, or maybe two Beyonce albums in full. 4 and Sasha Fierce We Have a Home. I don't know if I ever listened to it in full though, because this was when I was a little kid. Well, 12. And it's weird though, because I've listened to so many of the big pop songs anyway, but it feels like I have listened to an album. I've definitely listened to an album's worth anyway. And I think, like, a lot of pops, my pop era and what I love from her was the big pop songs like Crazy in Love, obviously. And I like this album, but for Beyonce, it's very subdued. It feels very quiet and minimalist, and that's not what I like about Beyonce. For me, it's the, like, big, loud, bombastic powerhouse music. And it's nice, but it's just missing what I love from Beyonce stuff. It's got some nice moments and there's stuff in there I'm like, yeah, I'll definitely go back and check this out again. But I think it's just a case of, this is good, it's just not for me, it's not what I want. But I think that's the case with most acts. Like, I would never want artists to tailor to me. Because that would end in disaster for everyone. So all in all, I think my favourite of this month, well, of new releases, I would probably go with yours truly and Kankaku Piero as my favourites of this month. So I would recommend all the ones I've said, even if I was less fussed on it, because I think just give anything a try, and I've obviously put them in here because I feel they're good enough to mention, at least. So yeah, gonna see if I can I might try and do this every month. So yeah, bye.